Hey, what's up you guys, it's me Luke and welcome back to another video, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I post commentary and critique and reaction videos on basically anything on the internet that interests me, ranging from pop culture to internet culture and anything in between. So if any of that interests you, then be sure to go ahead and subscribe and turn on the post notifications bell so that you never miss another upload from me. Alrighty guys, today's video is an update on the whole frenemies drama situation that's going on at the moment. I did upload a video about the frenemies drama when it first broke, but I actually have decided to private that video or take it down just because I feel as though you guys are right in the comments, those of you who were telling me that I was being biased towards Trisha. At this point when I filmed this video, Ethan's video hadn't come out yet, so I only really heard Trisha's side of the story, so I was being really biased towards Trisha, and doing this really taught me a valuable lesson that I should always wait till two parties come out with their sides of the stories before I can make an evaluated decision on what my opinion is. So yeah, that's really taught me a lesson, and I'm sorry about that, guys. I would rather take the time to wait for people to, show their sides of the story and make a really have like a whole picture kind of idea on what I think about the situation, rather than just like be quick to the drama and just upload as soon as the drama breaks, you know what I mean? But anyway, so today I'm gonna be doing a little summary of the drama and giving you my thoughts and opinions. I had to sit through 7 Trisha Paytas videos, like hours and hours and hours of content of Trisha Paytas videos, as well as Ethan's video and the Frenemies episode, and all the tweets that Trisha posted, and all the text that Trisha posted, and the TikToks Trisha posted. So it was just a lot. It was a lot. So I'm going to be summarizing it for you guys in this video, so hopefully you don't have to watch it and I save you a bit of time. Also just be discussing my thoughts on it. So without further ado, let's get into it because I'm about to dive in to the drama. Let's get it. Okay, so first up, if you don't know how the drama started, basically the episode was kind of off from the beginning. Something just felt off between Ethan and Trisha in this episode, but it really came to a head when Trisha was talking about Brokeback Mountain, which is a movie about a gay love story set in the 60s, so it was really tragic. And they said in their video where they were talking about why they're stepping down from Frenemies, that the reason they brought that up is because they wanted to talk about gay rights and trans rights and how it was all happening. And when Ethan was interrupting them when they were talking about it, they split, okay? Which is a term that I found on TikTok, which is basically where someone with mental health issues who has a very like black or white or all or nothing mindset just splits and everything turns bad, or everything turns, one note, you know what I mean? So when Ethan interrupted them about the pizza, he was just like, oh, do you want pizza? Does so-and-so want pizza? While they were talking about something that was important to them, they split and they, freaked out, and they were just like, okay, I'm just going to go on the defense. I'm just going to go all negative. This is all bad. And that's when they started insulting the advice segment. Now, I already spoke about this in the last video, but basically I think that it was wrong of Trisha to insult this advice segment. First of all, you don't know who came up with it. Second of all, it's a bit hypocritical because it's a segment for your fans to get to know you, and you, just a week ago, were insulting Ryland Adams for making fun of his fans for wanting more content from him. So I just think that it's a little hypocritical and just wrong of Trish to, completely insult and shoot down this idea, which is exactly what they did. But Trisha says in their video that they had no idea that this idea belonged to Sam, who's the newest employee on the H3 Productions crew. And then Trisha just gets really mean. They basically just insult the podcast and say that it's super lazy, that they recycle their content, and all this horrible stuff that they just keep droning on about. And then they bring up money, which is something they brought up before on the podcast, is how they have this split, right? Where Ethan gets 5% of the total revenue from the Frenemies podcast, because he takes that and puts it in productions cost, as well as 100% of the highlights. So when they repost highlights of the videos, he takes all the ad revenue from that and puts it back into production. And whatever's left over from the Frenemies revenue is split 50-50 between Trisha and Ethan, and then the sponsors are split 50-50 between Ethan and Trisha, even though the H2 production is the one who is bringing in the sponsors. And this is kind of Ethan's argument in his video is, Trisha's complaining about money and that they want more money, but Trisha's saying in their videos that, no, I don't want more money. I just want you to be more transparent about money. They want to know where the money's going. They want to know an itemized breakdown of where the money's going. But Ethan basically says in his video that, oh, I showed you an itemized breakdown of what happened and where the costs go and all that kind of thing. But then later on, he says in his video, oh no, I don't have to do that. I don't have to show you that. That's none of your business, basically. Like, we're the one who run the business. So he did kind of flip-flop a little bit, but I definitely agree with the latter thing that he said, in the fact that it's H3 Productions. They're running the production, so I don't think they like, Ethan is in charge of it. I don't think he needs to provide Trisha with a breakdown of all their costs. I mean, yes, Trisha is the co-host, but she's at the end of the day the talent, the employee of H3 Productions. And I think that Trisha just wanted a higher position. And Trisha mentioned in their video that they would have loved to have, you know, the Frenemies podcast on their channel to help grow their channel, because they've helped grow the H3 channel by being in Frenemies, because Frenemies gets like way more views than the rest of the H3 content, and the H3 channel has grown so much since Frenemies because it's been such a success. But it's been a success because of both of you, not just because of one or the other. And Ethan mentions in his video that he was the one who had to front the cost for Frenemies. He had to put down the money to build the set, to pay the crew, to, you know, have all the equipment when they first started. And then they're also the ones who are fronting the costs on the merch, which they've made. And now Ethan's stressed about that because he's got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merch that he doesn't know if he's going to be able to sell because Frenemies is now over. And Trisha's basically saying, like, still sell it, like, I won't even take any of the revenue, you can keep all of it. So they're just very back and forth. And then there was this thing about the employees. So apparently, according to Ethan, Trisha said that they wanted to fire all of the employees from the Frenemies podcast and hire a whole new crew. Trisha denies this and says, no, I did not want to do that. I just wanted to hire one producer to have somebody on my side and in my corner, someone I vibed with, someone I felt comfortable with, someone who got my sense of humor, because I don't feel comfortable with your crew because they're your crew. I don't vibe with them. I don't get their sense of humor. They mentioned that when they were on the tour bus in one of the vlogs that they just didn't feel comfortable with the crew. So Trisha denies wanting to fire the crew. But then Ethan said in a couple texts that were shown that the crew needed to cool down and they needed some time to, like, you know, cool down after everything that happened because Trisha was so rude to them, insulted their work, you know, one of them fired allegedly. And then Ethan basically said the crew needs to cool down. So it was Ethan who said it, not the crew, because then in the Discord, Dan, who's like the main producer, said that no, we were happy to film. Like, obviously it would have been awkward, but, you know, it's our job, so we need to do it anyway. So they would have filmed the vlog, but Ethan's the one who decided that they would cool off for a few days. And then Trisha's basically denying having said that they wanted to fire the Frenemies crew, and they're really upset that Ethan said this. I don't know who to believe. You know, it's a bit of a he said, they said situation. So yeah, it's really, really confusing. So Ethan was talking about hiring someone on the podcast, how he had just hired someone, and Trisha was like, oh, you don't get my input or anything like that. And then Ethan was like, why would I get your input? Like, you know, it's my production. I'm the one who runs it. I hire these people. They don't just work for Frenemies. They work for all their H3 podcasts. So, you know, Trisha just wanted more control, whereas Ethan has the control because it's his production at the end of the day. And Ethan was definitely upset by what Trisha said. You know, he says it's unprofessional to bring up money on the podcast, and it's unprofessional to talk about the employees and trash them on the podcast. Like, the whole thing was very unprofessional on Trisha's part, but at the end of the day, Ethan could have cut it out. He didn't need to leave it in the podcast. I don't know, the whole thing was just very uncomfortable to watch. And then something else about the videos is, like, in Trisha's videos, like, the first two were okay, because the first one was like Trish saying why they wanted to, you know, step down for Frenemies and explain all their reasoning, and just that they were really upset by what happened and they don't feel comfortable and all this kind of stuff. And then they uploaded another video saying they were sorry. So, you know, we had kind of a ray of sunshine at the end of the tunnel, thinking like maybe Frenemies can come back. But then once Ethan made his video, that's when Trisha just went full rage quit. Oh, that was such a cringy thing to say. And they made a bunch of videos against Ethan. They made like 4 videos, I believe, after that point. And 3 of them were called Ethan's Lies. One of them spelled incorrectly. And basically they watched the video and broke down every time they thought that Ethan was lying, which was the time about the firing the employees, being transparent about the money, and Trisha wanting to hire a producer. And yeah, just everything to do with the money and all that kind of situation. And in the videos, Trisha just gets to a really low point where they're just insulting Ethan, calling him a bunch of names, swearing, cussing. It just gets really, really messy. And Ethan says in his video that he feels like he has to walk on eggshells around Trisha because they're so sensitive and they can blow up so many times. I mean, this is the 3rd time that they've walked off of Frenemies, but it's unfair because Trisha gets to say whatever she wants about Ethan. She says anti-Semitic things about him, makes jokes about him being Jewish. She called him Jewy in one of the texts because he was talking about money, and it's like obviously a stereotype that Jewish people are like greedy, a horrible stereotype that isn't true. And Trisha called him Jewy, which is just inappropriate, and she always brings up the fact that he's Jewish and like jokes about it and stuff. I know she is dating Moses, who is Jewish, and she's converting to Judaism, so I don't necessarily think she's anti-Semitic, but still she should be careful with the jokes that she makes because they are in poor taste. And let's not forget, back in the day, they judged Ethan and Hila's parenting because Ethan and Hila, you know, hired a nanny for their child, which is like pretty normal because parents have to work. And they judged their parenting. They called Hila the C word. They, you know, full on blew up at them. And it was like a whole thing where they were insulting Hila and Ethan, and they've done this multiple times where they insult them. And, you know, Trisha also, you know, makes fun of Ethan's Tourette's and like brings it up all the time and like constantly makes little jabs about it. But Trisha's defense is like that these were like all like the, you know, Tourette's and the Jewish thing were like lighthearted jokes, and like they don't know where the line is because they make jokes about Trisha as well. Like they used to make jokes, like Ethan used to make jokes about Trisha being crazy and all that kind of stuff. So they don't know where the line is drawn. But their other defense is that, you know, you can't just forgive Trisha for the things that they've said about Hila and then bring it up and, you know, throw it up in Trisha's face again. Like you can't, if you've really forgiven somebody, you shouldn't bring it up over and over again, is Trisha's defense, which, you know, I kind of see where they're coming from. Another thing was moving the studio. So Ethan was moving to a studio space in downtown LA for all of his H3 productions, all of his H3 podcasts, and Trisha didn't want to go to downtown LA to film because, you know, they said that they had trauma from there because it's a really dangerous area and they've like been in a shooting or something. But Ethan was like, okay, well then we'll just film it at the house. But then Trisha's like, I don't feel comfortable in the house. Hey, Percy. My little kitty. Oh, sorry. And then, but then Ethan's like, okay, well, I can't win. You know what I mean? Like, what are we supposed to do? Build an entire new set just for frenemies? And then Trisha's defense is like, yeah, you have that in the budget. Like, where is the money going? That's Trisha's defense, is like, you have so much money. But at the end of the day, it's Ethan's business, so he doesn't really have to disclose where the money's going. Just accept and know that it's going back into the business. You know, I do believe him when he says that. And when it comes to, you know, putting money into the business, Trisha's defense is that they were never asked to invest money into the business, and they would have been happy to if they were asked. But then to that I say, well, you didn't offer. You know what I mean? Like, maybe when you both started this podcast, you could have both put money into it and built a studio together and both decided that, you know, you were going to make it a bit of a separate thing from H3 Productions. But obviously they never knew how big it was going to get. But I think at some point they should have realized and reevaluated it, and then we could have been out of this mess. And then Trisha basically just says that all of their ideas were always shut down. But then Ethan's defense is like, no, you wanted to dress up as all these costumes and we dressed up. But then Trisha's defense is they show these texts between Ethan and them where Ethan's the one coming up with the costume ideas. So it's just like a very back and forth. It's very like he said, they said. Yeah, which also I'm like confused now because apparently on Trisha's TikTok they go by she, her, and they, them now. So if I've slipped up at any point in this video, just know that they go by those pronouns now. But yeah, that's basically everything that I wanted to discuss when it comes to frenemies. This video hopefully is concise because there was a lot. There was a lot in there, but these are like the main points that I really want to hit home on. Overall, I think Trisha's really in the wrong here. I think Ethan did his best when it came to this situation. Ethan's not, you know, 100% innocent in this situation. Like, there was times where he was getting a little bit gaslighty, like when he was trying to tell Trisha Paytas how they were feeling. You know, I think you shouldn't tell people how they feel. Like, if people tell you they don't feel that way, you don't need to like do that and then be passive aggressive towards them and be like, okay, you know, you're fine. Like, you know, it's just not healthy. But other than, it's not healthy to tell me why you are making this hard. Sorry. Got me tossing and turning, got me sleeping. Okay. But yeah, guys, that's basically it. Let me know who you think is in the wrong in the comments down below. I would love to know. Let's start a discussion. And thank you guys for keeping me accountable based on my last video. And yeah, that's it for me in this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the post notifications bell. As always, all my social media is linked down below, as well as a link to my second channel, my merch, my podcast, and my Cameo. Alrighty, guys, that's it for me in this video. I hope to see you in my next one. And as always, I hope that you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. Bye.